crybaby.
Yeah, maybe when I was a kid.
Kid, it's thy job.
Hey, that hurts!
And now it's April 28th, 2018. It has been 10 years since I made my first ever video on YouTube. Where the hell has the time gone? Ugh! Aloha, everybody. It is I, the Great Clement, and of course I have to celebrate this milestone. Of course I have to celebrate the occasion, because it's been 10 years since I started on YouTube. Technically, the channel's been around since 2007 because I wanted to subscribe to certain producers, I wanted to comment on certain videos, but I didn't make my first ever video until April 28th, 2008, and that's where I think the channel really got its beginnings, you know? That's when a lot of people got their beginnings, it seems, lately. I've been hearing about a lot of 10th anniversaries popping up. 2008 was just a good year for YouTube content producers, I suppose. But the first video I ever did was Final Fantasy X in 5 seconds. That was a concept inspired by Doug Walker, aka the Nostalgia Critic of Channel Awesome fame. And good timing, Channel Awesome. Thanks for that. I can't wait for the comments to be nothing but Channel Awesome. But back in the day, he used to do 5-second movies, which were satirical, condensed versions of movies where there was a punchline. Like Titanic in 5 seconds was like, well, this ship can't sink. Splash. And that was it, you know? But his length for those videos would be inconsistent. He would do something like Rain Man, and it would go on for like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. He'd do another thing, and it'd be like 40, 50 seconds. So mine being 50 seconds was not out of the norm. That was actually pretty normal for 5-second movies. And I was just wanted to make a joke about Final Fantasy X because I thought Titus was kind of whiny, and I wanted to make a greatest hits of his whiniest compilations going against his narration that he was not a kid anymore. I'm not a kid. Everything is your fault, Orin! I actually very much like Final Fantasy X, as you'll see in the Final Fantasy retrospective coming up. I don't know what that was. And that's basically how I got my start on YouTube. I made a whole bunch of 5-second games, essentially. And ones I'm very particularly proud of are like Kingdom Hearts, because I noticed that Ansem says darkness a lot, and so I just thought that was funny and worth pointing out. And the other one I always liked was the Sonic Riders one, because I thought it was a legitimate plot hole that Wave put the bomb on the board, and then Tails said he was going to inspect the board and, like, make sure it was ready for the race, but then he didn't, because the bomb was still on the board. Surely Tails would have noticed the bomb on his hoverboard, and it wouldn't have blown up on Sonic. That's not inconsistent. Wave put the bomb on first, Tails said he was going to check it out. Whatever. But after the 5-second movies, growing up as a kid, I liked film criticism. I liked video game criticism. It's why I'm such a big fan of Electric Playground with Victor Lucas, Tommy Tallarico, when they were doing their reviews on the Run segments. I was a big fan of Adam Sessler, Morgan Webb's X-Play show. And when it came to movies, I would always tune in every single night during high school to watch Roger Ebert, Richard Roeper do video reviews and to see their opinions on all the upcoming movies that were coming out. And sometimes those guys could be so funny in the way they would destroy a game, or not destroy a game, but destroy a movie or destroy any kind of piece of media, that I thought it would be fun to make a compilation of all of that. So back in the day, in 2008, the Ebert and Roeper website actually hosted all of the videos that they've ever done, and I would use a screen capture device to record them as they were playing on the website, and then I edited them together with some video game music in the background, just to celebrate all that. And as the series got more popular, eventually people started like adding suggestions and stuff, like, oh, in this video, in this particular review, Siskel says something really mean to Roger. You should get it. It's really funny. And I was actually taking viewer suggestions from the comments section. I haven't really done that in a while. I don't believe the Ebert and Roeper website still exists, or at least I haven't really checked in a while, but I seem to remember it didn't exist after Ben Lyons and Ben Mankiewicz became the new hosts, and then everything was kind of rebooted and stuff, and I was just like, oh. But after fun times with Siskel and Ebert and Roeper, I played a little gem called Cool World for the Super Nintendo. This was my first ever Let's Play. I did this in November of 2008. because I was getting really fascinated with Let's Plays. They were starting to show up everywhere on YouTube, on Blip, and the Something Awful forums certainly had an entire board dedicated to it, and I was paying attention to that website back in the day. But I was very interested in doing my own Let's Play because I love playing video games, I love talking over video games, and it would be different from like film criticism where like I could actually enjoy playing a game and talk over it, you know? So I get to have all this time to tell everybody what I like or dislike about a game, and that's why I primarily do a Let's Play channel, because I really like this form of entertainment. But Cool World, the reason I did Cool World first, not because it's a spectacularly interesting, amazing game or anything, it's because no one else had done a playthrough of it on YouTube. And I was going through all of my childhood favorite games, all the games that everybody had done, and I was like, okay, people have done a Zelda playthrough, people have done this playthrough, people have done a Mystical Ninja playthrough, alright. Hey, nobody's done a Cool World playthrough. Boom! That's a weird playthrough to rewatch, because not only was it my first Let's Play, but I inserted a lot of like movie clips. I would cut to the trailer, I would cut to Gabriel Byrne falling into the void that is Cool World. I remember when the spider minigame happened and you have to climb up the building, I actually showed a clip of the movie to tell people what the hell that was all about, because maybe people hadn't seen Cool World the movie. This is based on a movie starring Brad Pitt, Gabriel Byrne, and another woman I can't remember the name of, damn it. Kim Basinger, that's who it was. But, so my first Let's Play Cool World, it's not great. Here's the thing about all of my Let's Plays from 2008 to 2012, okay? I was editing everything together on Windows Movie Maker, and because of the way I was editing clips together, there was always like these weird audio disturbances where like I would make a cut, but it wouldn't like seamlessly integrate the audio very well. You would hear like a click or clipping or some kind of noise that would happen during those Let's Plays. And so throughout all of my early Let's Plays, you can always hear these weird like the audio getting like weirdly out of balance and stuff, because for some reason Windows Movie Maker just couldn't handle that, but that was the only editing device I had at the time. I don't use the things I do nowadays because I didn't actually have a PayPal account. I wasn't buying things online. I was using free devices to the best of my ability. I was a pretty cheap-ass work with what I got Let's Player back in the day, you know? Like, I was literally using a microphone that was like... it was this tiny, like, gray, flimsy microphone that was like this thin, and it was like this big, and I put a sock over the top of it just so it would help stop all the popping, so it would help stop all the muffling that was happening. And I was holding this tiny little thin microphone for the first two Let's Plays in my hand like I was a radio announcer or something, and it didn't occur to me later to put it on a table and then put it in like a glass cup so that the thin microphone would stand up in a glass cup so that I didn't have to hold on to it the entire time so that I could do commentary. And I would say in general, all of my Let's Plays, all of my early videos from 2008 to 2012, not just in my behavior, but also in the editing, also in just my commentary and how I don't think it was that great when I go back to it. I go back to something like Cool World and I cringe up a little bit. I go, ugh, who is this young idiot? Who is this young Canadian idiot and what's he doing? Oh God, no! The only other things of note I did in 2008 was then I did Beauty and the Beast Belle's Quest, because again, like Cool World, childhood game, nobody had done a Let's Play of it on YouTube, so why not? I think one or two people did Home Alone, but I still went ahead and played Home Alone anyway, just because it was a childhood favorite of mine. And why not? Macaulay Culkin, a whole bunch of robbers, what's not to like? In 2009, the first Let's Play I did of that year was The Legend of Mystical Ninja for the Super Nintendo. It's a fantastic, underrated adventure platformer that is also co-op, by the way, where you play as Kid Ying and Dr. Yang, or should I say Goemon and Ibusimaru, as you go through Japan and you just fight a whole bunch of colorful, crazy bosses to awesome music. And I actually want to redo that Let's Play, because I also want to do the N64 game in the future, and if I ever get the inclination to do that, I'm going back to the Super Nintendo game. Until then, though, the 2009 original playthrough is still up. Mega Man! So it was 2009, it had barely been a year since Mega Man 9 came out on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, the Wii, whatever. And I was such a die-hard Mega Man fan. I was such a die-hard, like, I was in love with the series, and I was certainly rejuvenated because of Mega Man 9. And, you know, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna play all of them. I'm gonna play all of them, and it's gonna be quick and easy and simple, and yeah. And the way I was doing things back in 2009, I used to do 5 videos a week. I would do one every single weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which, you know, because of Movie Maker, because of the WMV files I was making to upload to YouTube, I could actually, like, crank out a video rather quickly. I could upload it in, like, 2 minutes. I could process and render the whole thing in, like, 3 or 4 minutes. So I was just kind of churning out videos left and right. I would do commentary sessions for like 4 or 5 parts in one session. That's how much I really wanted to do this hobby and how really into doing Let's Plays I was. And yeah, I did the Mega Man Wily Wars as my first playthrough. I did Mega Man 4 all the way through 9, and that included Mega Man and Base, that included Mega Man V. And then after Mega Man 9, because 10 hadn't come out yet, oh yeah, I barreled through all these games before 2010. This is true. So I did the classic series in under half a year, and then afterwards I was like, well, time to move on to the X series. So I did X1, X2, X3, X4, X5. And then of course there was Mega Man X6, which a lot of people think is one of my more infamous playthroughs, mainly because I was very sweary, and I did not like that game. No, I did not. I did not like Mega Man X6. Personally, it's still one of those playthroughs I would like to redo just because it was a 2009 Let's Play, and the audio quality and my commentary could certainly use a refreshing, but I am glad people enjoy the original Mega Man X6 playthrough. It became synonymous with me to that point where, like, anytime someone says, X6 sucks, why? Ask the great Clement. And it's just like, don't embarrass me. Fuck, stop it. I'm not that good. I'm not that influential. Stop it. That was an old-ass playthrough. That was really bad, the audio quality and stuff. You don't need to point to X6 as being one of my best works. Come on.
I could now create perfect and the strongest... That's bad grammar. I hid myself while I tried to repair myself. What? What does that even mean? I hid myself while I tried to repair myself. He was a fucking torso who had a Mega Buster for an arm.
So, yeah, that was a thing. Not content with just doing 5-second games and Let's Plays, I then decided to do a video called How Clement Spent His Summer. And the entire premise of that was just because I had gone on a year, I was gaining some subscribers, I was gaining some traction, and I wanted people to know what I really looked like, and I wanted people to, I guess, see how wacky and crazy I could be. I was in drama club throughout all of high school, right? I considered myself a bit of an actor. I liked seeing what the crew at Channel Awesome and the Angry Video Game Nerd and all these YouTube personalities who had tons of skits, like, maybe I could beat up Bugs Bunny in my basement. Why not? So I was doing a lot of silly on-screen sketch humor around this time, and then I would actually integrate this kind of stuff into my Let's Plays and stuff. But How Clement Spent His Summer debuted in 2009. That was like my second on-screen appearance beyond Cool World. And there's a lot of effort that went into that one because I went all over town. I got all my friends together. I was doing really silly shit, like this part where I trip down a mountain and then I stumble backwards and fall throughout that whole thing. Yeah, I scraped up my knees pretty badly doing that. I didn't really have any protection or anything. I just thought it'd be funny if I was just like fumbling and tripping down the road, because anything for a laugh, right? So it was a little weird, a little dangerous, but
garbage day!
No!
You know, I was an actor in high school. I wanted to inject some weird humor into my videos. And there's certainly a lot of deleted videos that are no longer up on the channel that a lot of people might miss out on, such as my magnificent Tommy Wiseau impression. It is not true. I did not hit her. It's bullshit. I did not. Oh, hi, BJ. Or there was the time when Sonic the Hedgehog 4 was coming out, and then I decided to mock the people who were getting really upset about Sonic's green eyes, because that's not classic Sonic. That's not what Sonic should look like in Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Ah! Look at this plush Bowser that I bought, but I hate. Look at this. He has red hair. He has red hair. In the original Mario Brothers, he didn't even have hair. This is bullshit. Bullshit! Oh my god, I can't say this with a straight face. Other things of note in 2009 would be the Mega Man Zero series started up, because I finished the X... Well, I didn't finish the X series, I couldn't do X7 and X8. I eventually did those later, but the funny thing with my playthroughs, and I probably should have mentioned this with Mega Man 9, I was doing screen capture on all of those old Let's Plays. They were all emulators, they were all ROMs. I was not playing an authentic Nintendo Entertainment System or Super Nintendo or whatever. When I recorded X4, I remember vividly that, like, the final battle with Sigma, I had a hard-ass time recording that because the frames were constantly skipping with my video recorder with the emulator I was using. And, eventually I just left it as was, and I left the jittering that was going on during the explosions with Sigma because I couldn't fix it. And I was just like, fuck it. I'll just leave it as is. That's X4's footage, whatever, you know. But the other thing was, with Mega Man 9, before I actually got to the X series, I got my friend BJ to help me out with his DVD recorder. And I recorded Mega Man 9 on a VHS tape in my own home, because that's something I did have. So I put the footage of Mega Man 9 on a VHS tape so that I could give it to BJ so that he could take the VHS footage, put it onto a DVD so I could rip the DVD footage onto my laptop and then edit the footage and do commentary through that method. One of the most bass-ackwards, makes no sense. I should have invested in getting like a capture device or something, but I never thought to do it, and I was but a poor boy in Canada back then, and oh my god, I don't know what I was thinking, but it added a kind of interesting effect to Mega Man 9 because it was a VHS playthrough, because it was like staticky and weird, and Mega Man 9 was a throwback to a game from the 80s. So it kind of worked out, honestly. My friend BJ helped me out quite a bit with a lot of the recordings, and then we actually did a co-op Let's Play together at the end of 2009 when we tackled Donkey Kong Country.
This fun outtake part, you know? Yeah. Look up there, Donkey. Boom! You fucker! Yeah? Boom!
Take that, bitch.
Just knocks him out cold.
Then he goes back to loving him here.
Like, Donkey's a dick.
I know. He boots him in the arms.
I know. These cons are assholes.
And the last Let's Play I did in 2009 was Home Alone 2 for the Super Nintendo, as a sort of sequel to the first Home Alone Let's Play, and I also did it on Christmas. I uploaded the entire playthrough on Christmas, but the one thing I remember the most about that playthrough, not necessarily 2009, but 2011, 2012, when I was going through my YouTube inbox, and I got a very polite message, but also a very concerned and offended message that, you know, I was watching your Home Alone 2 Let's Play, and you swear so much. And I was thinking about it, I was like, I go rewatch the playthrough, I'm like, oh god, I really do just keep saying the F word all the time, don't I? Again, keep in mind, in 2009, I was 21 years old. So I've certainly matured since then. I'm not going to say I don't swear anymore, and I don't necessarily think that saying the F word is the most objectionable crime ever, but I do understand that I do have a little bit of a responsibility knowing that, like, kids watch me, and I don't want to, like, give them bad, I don't want to give them bad, tics in their verbal vocabulary. I don't want them to get bad habits. That's what the phrase I'm trying to look for. But I remember that email quite a bit, and that was before YouTube made you go through like 3 or 4 different pages just so you could see the inbox, just so you could see all the messages that people send you. Unfortunately, I don't really read the YouTube messages anymore because it's like buried between like 4 or 5 different pages. You have to go into like Creator Studio, then you have to go into Community, then you have to go into Inbox, and then finally you can get to your messages, and it's just like, ugh, I'm too lazy. I don't want to do that. But I did tone down my swearing a little after reading that 2 years later, and I was very conscientious about that playthrough ever since, so that's a thing. At the end of January, the Mega Man Zero series wrapped up, and I didn't have a capture device that would help me record the PS2 Mega Man games, the DS Mega Man games, the PSP Mega Man games. So I eventually decided to move on to a different series altogether. Yeah, I decided it would be a good idea to tackle an entire series next, and continue with that train of thought like I did with Mega Man. And so I thought about it, and I went, what series do I like more than Mega Man? And then it hit me. I'm gonna play every single Sonic the Hedgehog game. This won't be a mistake at all. There's a lot of things that people remember about my Sonic the Hedgehog playthroughs, like anytime I mention Knuckles, because, you know, sometimes Knuckles has the tendency to, well, be an idiot.
Shut up!
I always use that shut up clip because it reminded me so much of all the YouTube poops that I used to watch back in the day. Early internet culture, man, I don't know what to tell ya. I remember during the Sonic 3 and Knuckles playthrough, I said a particular phrase way too many times, and the comments rightfully made fun of me for it. But I kept saying this in previous LPs, and I certainly kept saying it after Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but during 3 and Knuckles especially, I just kept saying, but I digress. I would be talking about something completely unrelated to the game, and then I would try to shift to another topic, and I would just immediately say, but I digress. But I digress. But I digress. But I digress. I kept saying it over and over and over again to the point where I guess it sort of became a meme of mine, and I liked it so much I pretty much adopted it into my own personal catchphrase. I put it in my bio descriptions, I put it on my Xbox Live account's description. Even when I was testing out footage for Clement Remembers Final Fantasy, I called the party I wasn't going to use, but I digress, because, well, that's what I do. I don't know why I have this quirk. A lot of people think I fake laugh all the time as well. Like, every time I say something, I tend to laugh, and I that's really me, man. That's really my personality. I don't know what to tell you. I just... Maybe it's a sense of nervousness, maybe it's just because I'm trying to fit in and belong, but I've always laughed quite a bit in my life, even if I'm the only one who said anything. I'm just laughing at my own joke. I don't know. I just laugh a lot. I did it again! I can't stop myself. I'm sorry if some people think my laughter is fake and annoying, but that's me. And you guys, I know you haven't seen this guy in quite a long while, but I'm bringing him out of retirement just for this video, so that you can say hello to Dr. Eggman.
After 10,000 years, I'm free! It's time to conquer YouTube!
Okay, shut up. So what's the story behind this guy? This was a birthday present from my friend Norm, who got this for me. I think my 19th birthday, might have been my 20th. But I actually made this a character in my videos before the Sonic retrospective started happening. Before I did the Sonic LPs, this was a thing that talked to me in How Clement Spent His Summer, and also in Clement Becomes a Big Brother. And the idea was, I was so repulsive and crazy and insane that, like, this doll always talked to me. That's actually why in Sonic 06, Eggman never really starts talking to me until I stop taking my crazy pills. And then Eggman starts talking to me again, because the whole idea was the doll doesn't talk, unless I'm not medicated. The doll is a figment of my imagination. That was always the idea behind those skits. But now the Eggman doll was certainly a double-edged sword, and I do think I went a little too overboard with it. I mean, look, I thought it was great to have a secondary character, and I didn't need my friends to come over all the time to have a dialogue with me. If I wanted to have a jokey joke on a script, a jokey joke in a Let's Play where I was talking with someone, crazy-ass Great Clement, who's off his medication, could just talk to his doll, who talks back to him, and then we got a nice joke I can set up with a punchline or whatever, and that's great. But I think I went a little overboard with how much I enjoyed the character of Dr. Eggman in the Sonic playthroughs. You know, I have him announcing the boss names of things. The Egg Hawk! The Egg Wyvern! The Egg Viper! You know. I had him being the punchline, essentially, to the end of every Let's Play, and he bookended every single story. And he was always in my skits, and it just sort of became an identity for me, to the point where, like, it's 2018 and I still get messages about Eggman fan art. I still get messages about Eggman's appearances in future Sonic games, in comic books. People still badger poor Mike Pollock to give me a shout out. I think that guy has gotten at least 3 people to approach him and make him give a shout out to me, which I appreciate it, but please don't bother Mike Pollock. Here's the shout out.
Greetings, this is Mike Pollock, and you're watching The Great Clement.
Aloha, this is Mike Pollock, voice of Dr. Eggman, and you're watching the one and only Great Clement.
You don't have to do it now. You can stop bothering him. You know, once the modern games started adding final cutscenes with Eggman, where he was bookending the story, I didn't really need this guy anymore, and I kind of wanted to get that away from the Eggman identity. Just, you know, I wanted people who made fan art of me, not necessarily to draw me in an Eggman costume riding an Eggmobile. Don't get me wrong, I am not shit-talking any of the fan art that I've gotten over the years, because it's fantastic, and I'm going to be gushing about that later, but, you know, it just became a little too closely tied to me that this is why you'll probably never see the Eggman plush doll ever again. It lives its usefulness, but I think I went a little too far with it. I went too far in a few places. But that's the story of the Eggman doll, why I used him so much, and why you'll never see him again. Bah! He's dead! He's dead! He's dead. I definitely remember that in 2010, when the Game Gear Sonic games started rolling around, that's when I got a better microphone for myself. It was a lot better than the one I was using in 2008, 2009, because it wasn't popping and making those noises as much as the earlier playthroughs. So it was around the Game Gear Sonic titles that I started getting a little bit better with my microphone. It's still not as good as my current one, but at least it was better than a lot of the 2008, 2009 stuff. There's lots of Sonic games I would actually really be fine replaying. Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Knuckles, Sonic CD, just because the microphone was so terrible, so yeah. Aside from Sonic, 2010 was mostly dedicated to me and BJ doing a whole bunch of co-op playthroughs. We did Donkey Kong Country 2, and then we experienced the true dickery that is New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I cannot recommend this game enough as a co-op adventure because this thing delivers on the dickery. Oh god, the dickery.
Thanks a lot, man. You just let me dive into my death.
Oh god, get out of my way!
Get out of my way, he says.
No! Stop landing on my head!
You gotta stop moving the platform.
And you dropped your Wiimote again!
You know what? I'm just staying in the bubble. To hell with you.
Jesus Christ.
No, you bastard! You could... Oh, you motherfucker.
And another playthrough I did on my lonesome was Punch Out for the Wii. This game is fantastic, and I actually feel like I should do a re-playthrough of this game with a better video capture, with better microphone quality, because I really don't know if I did this game justice. This game has fantastic sense of humor. The gameplay is so damn satisfying. Trying to learn the patterns of Soda Pumpkinski, Bear Hugger, Super Macho Man, like all the enemies that you face in this game is such a hoot, and I definitely recommend, if you're looking for a fantastic Wii title, get Punch-Out! Or watch my Let's Play of it. Warning, it's an old Let's Play. At the beginning of 2011, I finally got myself a DVD recorder. You'll notice I didn't say hoppage, you'll notice I didn't say Elgato. I got myself a DVD recorder so that I could record footage onto DVDs, put them into my laptop, and then rip the footage from them there so I could edit them and make Let's Plays with. I'm a bass-ackwards person. I don't know what to tell you, but and when March approached, I finally got acquainted with this really fantastic platformer that came out on Xbox Live, and that game was called Super Meat Boy. Super Meat Boy was so damn fun, so damn addicting, but I thought like a basic playthrough of the game would be kind of boring, so I came up with this brilliant idea in time for St. Patrick's Day. What if I play Super Meat Boy, but every time I died, I had to drink delicious cherry whiskey. And that playthrough is one of my most legendary, that one is one of my more infamous, and I played Super Meat Boy and I didn't make it. I got way too drunk.
Back.
Die. You're gonna die. Yes.
Stop it! You fucked me over! You fucked me over so bad. You purposefully...
Go get more alcohol.
Yeah, I'm gonna get another drink. Tell me how many more times he dies before I get back.
Oh, fuck! Why did I agree to do this? 7 chapters!
Don't forget
it gets harder! I should recommend to any new viewers who don't know about that playthrough that certainly do not try this at home. Certainly do not do this unless you have a guardian, a friend who can take you to the hospital in case things get too bad. Make sure you're drinking lots of water, have food, don't do what I did because I was being stupid and I was trying to be funny for the YouTube audience. I was saying stupid shit when I was drunk, like, I called my penis the Mega Buster, okay? I remember when Super Meat Boy finished, one of my friends over at the job I was working at told all the other coworkers about it and was showing them footage of the playthrough on their phones. And nobody had seen me, like, super plastered, making an ass of myself inside of work. So to see it outside in this little special video playthrough, I got hazed and made fun of so much for that particular playthrough. It was ridiculous. I remember someone linked the playthrough to Team Meat's forums, or at least their website, back in 2011 when it happened. And Team Meat actually messaged me on Twitter saying, like, we're glad you're alive, don't do that again. And I totally get it. Kids, do not emulate me. Do not emulate what I did in that playthrough. It's not safe. In retrospect, Meat Boy's playthrough, it's a little hard for me to watch just because of how much of kind of an asshole I come off in the videos. I never thought it when I was watching in 2011, but now I watch in 2018 and I just think of myself as like, this guy is talking down to his friends a lot, isn't he? He's acting like he's the big, smart intellectual in the room, this Clement, and I never want to feel like that ever again. I'm sorry if I ever gave that impression. I apologize to my friends if they were ever bothered by the things I was saying during that playthrough.
You almost done an entire bottle of whiskey.
If anything, we're being bad friends.
Yeah, we should have made you stop a long time ago.
Yeah, well. And, you know, I'm glad my audience can enjoy it, but there's parts of that playthrough I can't watch when I start getting really, really drunk. So, yeah, Super Meat Boy, it's a thing. Another playthrough I would love to redo that happened in 2011 was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I actually did 2 playthroughs of that game. I did a solo playthrough on the hardest difficulty. I also did a co-op playthrough with 3 of my friends, and the only problem with that playthrough is that, well, I made it at a time when I wasn't doing HD videos. I did it at a time when, you know, my commentary probably could have been better, and you know, it'd be good to capitalize on it now, considering that Scott Pilgrim's been delisted from Xbox Live, and if you've never purchased it before, you can't purchase it today. It was only on consoles, it wasn't on Steam or anything, and that's disappointing, man. Scott Pilgrim was one of the best games Ubisoft ever released. That was one of my favorite games of 2010 when the game came out, and I don't know, maybe I should do another Let's Play of that game just because it's so rare now, and it's so fucking good. And I should have it in HD and stuff now, but, you know. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, I loved that game, and I did a playthrough for it. And finally, the only other non-Sonic playthrough I did in 2011 was the X-Files game for the PlayStation. This was an FMV adventure where you played the role of Special Agent Craig Wilmore, FBI, and you had to find Mulder and Scully, who disappeared when they were on a case. And this game can be pretty wacky sometimes. It is, for the most part, keeping the tone of the show, but my god, can it be wacky, and my god, can you be a dick.
Let's get her attention by ringing the bell.
Please don't do that. Do you know how many people do that with me sitting right here?
No.
Well, you're not the first.
Now let's be a dick.
What are you, a child? I said don't do that.
Sometimes you can show it to him twice, even though you don't really need to.
What's the matter with you?
Once 2012 rolled around, that's when I felt I was finally getting a better handle on how I wanted to talk in videos. I had a pretty decent microphone at the time, and I was finally starting to invest in capture devices beyond my DVD recorder so that I could accurately record things multiple times without having to take up so much space on a DVD, and things were starting to finally smooth out a little bit in 2012. I remember when Sonic Heroes started up, that was when I first discovered that I could stop interlacing from happening with my videos. So you'll notice that like Sonic Heroes Part 1 was like really interlaced, but then Part 2 onwards were not interlaced, because I noticed how bad it looked on Heroes with the colorful visuals and stuff. And it was like that for Sonic Adventure 1, it was like that for Sonic Adventure 2. I was finally putting things through the program Handbrake to de-interlace things and stuff. And there was another thing with Sonic Heroes where I remember just before I started uploading that, it was on Part 2 or Part 3, I actually like found a discussion about myself on a forum somewhere, and people were actually commenting on, you know, he's pretty informative, he does a pretty funny thing with Sonic and Mega Man, but the only thing I really don't like are some of the weird, dumb jokes he has. I don't know why he always describes defeating a boss as raping a boss. That was something I used to do before 2012, before Sonic Heroes came out, and I actually took that piece of criticism pretty personally. I took that to heart, not in an offended way, not in like, how dare they. I actually was like, oh geez. I don't say that kind of language anymore. There's certainly things about my vocabulary that I would change pre-2012, reading some criticism of mine. And, you know, I like criticism, I do. I genuinely like when it's constructive criticism where people are genuinely telling me, like, Clement, you're being kind of an asshole. You're being kind of a dick. Don't be a dick. Be a better person. You know, because that is actually pretty helpful to me. I like to consider that maybe, just maybe, the great Clement is not infallible, and that I can learn from my mistakes and stuff. But if you're just telling me you're going to fuck my mother because I didn't like Shadow the Hedgehog, well, have fun. I hear my mother's really good in bed. And then at the end of 2012, we finally got to one of my most popular series ever, one of the most popular things in terms of views that you will find on my channel, something I was building up to for a very, very, very long time in my Sonic the Hedgehog retrospective, and that, of course, was Sonic 06. I didn't want to do a Let's Play, I wanted to do a big analysis, in-depth review on why I genuinely thought it was the worst video game I have ever played. I remember that was the first project, aside from How Clement Spent His Summer, Clement Becomes a Big Brother, where I actually wrote out a gigantic script. I've never had scripts for any of the other videos. Even stuff like look-ats with Sonic Drift and stuff. I was doing it off the cuff. I was just speaking my mind, and then I would edit the footage around that. But when it came to Sonic 06, this was the first time I actually wrote out a lot of things over the course of like 2 years about what I wanted to say about it, some of my huge glaring issues with it, and I didn't expect it to be 3 hours long, but it ended up being 3 hours long, so I discovered that day that I do not know how to shut up. I remember thinking Sonic 06 was like the biggest deal at the time. Like, I was building it up through all my Sonic retrospective playthroughs, I was scripting it out, I was telling all my friends about how great it was going to be, and, you know, it's fine. I'm glad lots of people took to it. A lot of people still use it as, like, the defining This is why Sonic 06 is terrible, you know, it's not just a bunch of glitches, it is just horribly, horribly designed, and I'm glad I could give people that kind of opinion piece so that they could point to and be like, hey, here's why Sonic 06 is worse than you think it is, or whatever, but, the only thing is, I wish it was an HD. I didn't have HD collection back then. I was really late to the game on that. Certainly there are certain jokes I would have taken out. I'm sorry I called Rouge a whore. I was looking for a stupid punchline because I was naming off a whole bunch of plot problems I had with the game, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I just randomly burst out, why is Rouge dressed like a whore? I love Rouge the Bat. I genuinely think she's one of the best characters in Sonic. I'm sorry. In fact, I'm going to say something positive about Sonic 06 that I didn't say in the review itself. There's a moment where Shadow thinks everyone is going to betray him and humanity has nothing to offer him, and Rouge the Bat assures him,
even if you believe everyone in the world will be against you, know that I'll always remain by your side.
That scene was fucking great, and I should have put that in the good moments of Sonic 06 portion of those reviews. So, hey, Rouge the Bat rules. But yeah, Sonic 06, it was such a big deal at the time, now it feels like a distant memory. Clement, where's your 8-part review on Sonic Boom Rise of Lyra? Because it's so much worse than Sonic 06. You're wrong. In 2013, I finally got the tech to record PSP games, and there were certainly a lot of PSP games I wanted to play because of Mega Man and Sonic. So I was doing Powered Up, Maverick Hunter X, Sonic Rivals 1 and 2. That was kind of a big deal for me, and I still don't think again, another series I would like to redo just because I never really figured out how to frame things and how to expand imagery, and everything was not HD yet. I was always putting things in 4x3, and I don't want to make it seem like this entire 10 years has been nothing but regrets, but certainly I am not a professional YouTuber, my friends. I have never been a professional YouTuber. I am still very much the amateur that flocked to YouTube in the first place. You know, one of the great benefits of YouTube was that any idiot can make a video, any idiot can express themselves and create their own kind of art, and I did the most with what I could. And I think the PSP footage is not great, but maybe the playthroughs still hold up. I don't know. And then after the PSP games, I did Banjo-Kazooie. And I remember Banjo-Kazooie was kind of a turning point for me because that was when I was starting to get drained from doing this as a hobby. This is when I started getting drained from doing Let's Play videos in the first place. Because, again, from 2009 onwards, I was actually releasing videos at such a rate that it was 5 days a week. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I was constantly uploading videos that often. And I just didn't have the energy for that anymore as I got older. I had a job to do, I had friends to visit, I had things I wanted to accomplish in my life, and because I was spending so much time making game videos for the internet, I wasn't having any time to do any of that stuff. And that was when I really needed to adjust and refocus my priorities. So there was certainly a point in Banjo-Kazooie, and in fact, I said it in the playthrough itself.
I'm gonna be making 3 videos a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so I apologize, but I think that's a pretty steady upload rate, quite frankly.
To give you an idea of how many videos I was making at the time, right after Banjo-Kazooie, in 2013, I did my DuckTales LP, because DuckTales Remastered was just announced, right? And the third part of that playthrough happened to be my 1000th video on the channel.
This is my 1000th video. I just want you to know that it's been 4 years and my life is a lie. Oh god. What happened? I just wanted to play a few video games back in 2008, and why the fuck? What happened to my life? Why don't women love me? Why am I not spending my time having lots of sex instead of playing these stupid fucking video games?
I remember I started 2014 off with a bang because I did Sega Superstars. This is when I was actually like buying lots of games, lots of capture devices and stuff off the internet now, finally. So things were really adjusting in that sense, and I decided to get myself just for the Sonic series, I was going to get myself the PlayStation iToy, a device I would never use in any other circumstance, just so I could show off my dumbass being an idiot in Sega Superstars. And I will say it's one of the most fun things I've recorded for the channel. I loved recording that.
Down, 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 up, down, up, down, two.
And then finally, after Sega Superstars, I did Sonic Unleashed, and that was the point where I knew, okay, I can't keep doing these videos without HD. Sonic Unleashed is one of the most beautiful Sonic games ever made. In fact, it still is the most beautiful Sonic game ever made, 10 years later. But Sonic Unleashed, I needed to be HD. I needed to start making these videos HD for the first time, and Sonic Unleashed was the first one to be high definition. I know, I was late to the party. High definition has been a long time before 2014. But, hey, I was an amateur YouTuber, and I finally had a computer that was fast enough to handle HD videos without taking like 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours to make. And, I remember I was really proud with how Sonic Unleashed turned out for the most part. So finally, I was entering the HD era, and I wanted to experiment what my HD would look like with older consoles, like the PlayStation, and that's when I decided to tackle Fear Effect, a survival horror game that was not Resident Evil, and so I wanted to see if people might be into this game, because I was when I was a kid.
Okay, this is starting to get a little bit ridiculous.
2014 was actually very experimental because not only was I doing HD for the first time, I was trying to record old games in HD, but then there was the DS, 3DS games that I was finally starting to tackle. I was finally going after Sonic Rush, Mega Man ZX, games that previously I didn't have any way to record, but now I do. I actually ordered it off of this particular website, so I got myself a maroon 3DS with like this little device built into the bottom of it where you attach like a cord to it to your laptop so that it would be projected on the screen, and then I would have to use a screen capture software that didn't suck balls like it did with my Mega Man X4 playthrough. So 2014 was me experimenting and trying to figure out new ways to finally be a somewhat competent YouTuber, to have a system that actually looked nice, that a lot of people wouldn't be complaining about various things here and there. Although, don't get me wrong, people still do, because I don't make 1080 videos in 2018. I don't have 60 frames per second in 2018. In many ways, I am still behind the curve when it comes to a lot of things, but I just need a better computer, you know? I need a better computer. I need to rearrange my whole friggin' life before I get a fantastic computer that allows me to do these things. And when it comes to games that don't run in 60 frames, like a Fear Effect or whatever, I don't really care all that much. 720 looks good on my laptop, 720 looks good on my computer monitor, so I don't know what to tell you. It looks good for me, and if it looks good for me, then that's all I want. And I wasn't really caring what I played in 2014 either. Fear Effect? You never heard of it? Too bad. Mr. Mosquito? You haven't heard of it? Well, you should, because this game's fucking bonkers!
Again, we're just sucking blood. Nothing sexual here at all. Oh god! Don't moan like that! Oh god! Could the camera angle change? Thank you, thank you. Oh, I'm a good person? Look, we're a mosquito, okay? We just want to stick our tiny little prick into this 17-year-old girl. I mean, and suck blood! And suck blood!
Of course I'm gonna do a playthrough of Pac-Man World. How else am I gonna butt bounce a whole bunch of guys?
I like rev rolling into guys, I like butt bouncing into guys. You can take that quote out of context all you want. I don't care. I like butt bouncing guys. Holy shit.
And then 2015 came around, and I was finally tackling a Mega Man series that I never touched before, which was a little bit intimidating, I'm not gonna lie, because I tackled Mega Man Legends, Tron Bonne, and Mega Man Legends 2 all in rapid succession, all at the same time. And the reason that playthrough was so intimidating for me going into it was because I've never really done a playthrough of a Zelda-type game where you're going into towns and you're talking to NPCs, and I was always wondering to myself, can I make a game this slow entertaining? Like, it's not a turn-based RPG where you're gonna have to watch me grind and level up and stuff, although it does have grinding. But I didn't know if I could keep the residents of Catalog's Island entertaining for you. I didn't know if my commentary was gonna be enough for those particular playthroughs. And honestly, if there's anything Let's Play-wise that I think has held up really well, I am still super proud of Legends 1, Tron Bonne, and Legends 2. Tron Bonne in particular, Tron Bonne is the one Let's Play that I've done that, like, I genuinely don't have any gripes with it. I don't have any criticisms of myself. I'm not looking at it going, oh, Clement, you fucked up, you idiot, you screwed that one detail up. I look at Tron Bonne and I am so happy with how that game turned out. And the fact that it's an obscure Capcom game that not many people had played, that just sweetened the deal even further. I was so happy with how Tron Bonne turned out. And then in 2015, something really crazy happened, because during the Mega Man Legends playthroughs, I think it was in the middle of Tron Bonne, I was on Twitter one day, and I'm getting a whole bunch of notifications, a whole bunch of people saying, "Congrats on getting 100,000 subscribers, Clement!" What? That was kind of crazy. It was always approaching 100,000, so it wasn't like I wasn't, like, shocked leading into it that it was getting that high. But it was still kind of crazy to me, man. It was still really, really crazy to me. Because, like, you know what's weird and puzzling about me? I'm a Let's Player who doesn't really do co-commentary all that often. There was the Sonic Unleashed playthrough. I did have my friend BJ over for Donkey Kong Country and stuff, but for the most part, I do solo Let's Plays, and mostly Let's Plays. I'm not really doing reviews all the time. I'm not really doing retrospectives all the time. And it was so weird to me that, like, 100,000 people wanted to check me out and watch my content all the time. Like, back in the day, I would celebrate something for 1,000 subscribers. I would celebrate for 5,000 subscribers.
I now have 1,000 subscribers. I have 1,000 people who are eagerly anticipating what I do next. Something of a milestone just happened. I got 5,000 subscribers over the summer, and
in fact, for 5,000 subscribers, I took my shirt off. Oh yeah.
And now a special treat for the 5,000 who did subscribe to me. You get to see me flex my muscles. Yeah! Oh God! Hot stuff coming through!
My eyes, the goggles do nothing!
And you know, there are content producers I follow on YouTube who don't have my subscriber count, who are way more professional than I am, who are way better at this than I am, who are immensely more talented than I am, and it's always mind-blowing to me that I have 100,000 people, right now it's like 120-something thousand people, who choose to watch me, who choose to support me, and it's made me as popular as I am. Maybe it's all the collaborations I've done over the years, you know, whether it was with Brain Scratch Comms, some call me Johnny. I've been on Game Explain quite a few times. Derek from Game Explain apparently watched my stuff for quite a while, and he actually asked me if I wanted to do discussions with him on things like Sonic Boom, Fire and Ice, or the Persona dancing games, or Final Fantasy VII. And I've been in a whole bunch of Game Explain videos. I actually got my first, like, recognition from one of my friends, because my friend watches Game Explain, they don't watch me, and then all of a sudden, I'm in a video one day, and they're like, "Why are you in a Game Explain video?" I'm like, "I don't know." It's weird how many people I find on Twitter follow me. You know, people who write successful articles and columns, and then they're like, "Hey, want to talk about Dr. Eggman?" I'm like, why me? Why are you watching me? What's wrong with you? There's something wrong with you. The point of this story was, I got 100,000 subscribers, and then I got this in the mail. I got a silver play button that proves that I got 100,000 subscribers for my channel, Clement J64, And this is in my house, and I get to show it off whenever a friend pops over, whenever an associate pops over, and they go, "Really? I didn't know you were that popular." And I'm like, "I guess I am. I've been doing this since 2008. It's now 2018, and I don't know. I don't think I'll ever make it to 1 million subscribers. But if I don't, at least I'll always have this, and that'll always be a thing that happened once upon a time. So thank you everyone who's watching me for the last 10 years. I don't know why this happened. I don't know why you guys are so adamant at watching me. Am I really that talented? Am I really that charismatic? I don't think I am. I'm a neurotic mess behind the scenes, and none of this makes sense to me. None of this makes sense. But yeah, that happened in 2015. So 2016 comes along, and it's definitely when I noticed that the video production was starting to slow down a little bit, because I only played 2 Sonic games that entire year. Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations. And Colors technically started in 2015, so it was just kind of ending in 2016. For the most part, I was playing things like Star Wars The Force Unleashed, where because of The Force Awakens came out, I wanted to kick some ass with Starkiller. Me, I'm spinning this guy around because I'm an asshole, and I love fooling around with soldiers in this game. And I love some of the details, like, I'm gonna leave this guy alone. Then after Star Wars, I was just like, you know what? Here's another PlayStation game I loved as a kid, Spider-Man!
Get over it, Gargan!
Get over it, Gargan! So what if I put you in a robot suit and now you can't get out of it and you're being driven insane? Get over it! Christ! Move on with your life! And the final thing that happened in 2016, technically this is true, the final day of 2016 is when this whole thing started, but for years I was itching to do another retrospective alongside WrestleGamia. WWE closed that shit down, and I didn't really have any Sonic 06 big project to work on, but I wanted to do something special and different. I wanted to do a series I hadn't really covered yet, but I was a big fan of, you know? And what better series than the one that I started the channel with, Final Fantasy. My first video was on Final Fantasy X, so why not look at the entire Final Fantasy series, at least the numbered ones anyway. And so it's been an interesting process, scripting out all of them, collecting all of the footage. Like, this is RPG games we're talking about, so I'm collecting a lot of footage, which is something I've never really done before. And trying to articulate and process my thoughts. I don't really consider them reviews, per se. It's me remembering Final Fantasy. It's me reminiscing about these old games that I used to play back in the day. But it technically started December 31st, 2016, so it technically started in 2016. I understand not everybody likes long videos, and certainly with 7 and 8, they've been going into the hour to an hour and a half mark. I honestly don't plan on these things. I didn't think Final Fantasy VIII was going to be as long as it was, but then I started scripting it out and just kept going and going, and I don't know how to shut up. You're watching a video where I don't know how to shut up, so, sorry? But, you know, honestly, I like long videos sometimes. I really like listening to 2 guys in a car talking shit about the Book of Henry for 40 or 50 minutes because, hey, as long as the discussion's good, I'm fascinated, you know? If I don't have time to watch it, well then, pause. Do thing I'm doing. Come back. Unpause. You know? That's always been my perspective on long videos. I try not to pad it out with unnecessary exposition or information that you don't need to know, but, you know, I do the best with what I can in regards to the Final Fantasy series, and it's still ongoing, so look forward to Clement Remembers Final Fantasy IX very soon. I think when you compare 2017 to all the years that came before it, it certainly came off as a very slow year. I was now focusing on a retrospective. I was focusing on Final Fantasy, and that meant that I was playing RPGs in my spare time and collecting lots of footage and writing scripts, and that tended to take up a lot of my time. I did do a very quick, very fast playthrough of Double Dragon Neon, because that game is fucking badass and you all need to play it. And then I chose to do The Hobbit for the GameCube, an old adventure platformer from my high school days that I was always a big fan of. I still enjoy it to this day, and I thought that playthrough was going to be going by rather quickly, but like, I started that thing in February, and I don't think that thing ended until June or July. I started the playthrough in February, didn't end until June or July, and it wasn't even a 20-part playthrough. There would be weeks in between Hobbit parts that I would just post nothing, and that was because I was working on my Final Fantasy retrospective in the background. I used to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday all the time, and that was just fine for me. And sometimes I can get in that groove again. I was in that groove for Double Dragon Neon. I could get in that groove for Sonic Lost World when I played that at the end of 2017. But for whatever reason, sometimes I just lose that energy and I lose that excitement, and I just don't have time to do things when maybe I want to relax. Maybe I have a headache. Maybe I don't want to do this thing here and now. And so I apologize if people thought things slowed down a little bit in 2017, but hey, I did do Double Dragon Neon, I did do The Hobbit, I did do Mighty Number 9, the bastard child of the Mega Man franchise that a lot of Mega Man fans don't really like all that much, but I just think it's mediocre. And now that takes us to 2018. Oh boy, yoy, 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 yoy. So I did do a playthrough of Street Fighter Cross Mega Man, a game I've been meaning to get to for quite a while. And the most recent thing I've done before this video was Crash Twinsanity for the PlayStation 2, a Crash Bandicoot game that not many have played, but the ones that do, they think it's pretty damn enjoyable, and I do too. So, we're caught up. It's April 28th, 2018. I've been on YouTube for 10 whole years. Oh God. I've wasted so much time. I've had jobs in the background. I've been hanging out with my friends in the background. It's not like this hobby of mine has ever exhausted me. 2017 got close to exhausting me. 2017 was a little bit like, ugh, I'm letting people down, but But for the most part, it's amazing that I've stuck with this as long as I have. It's amazing that I have 100,000 subscribers. How the hell did that happen? And I met a lot of great friends online. I've met a lot of great fans who have said some heartwarming things, silly things about me, sexy things about me. Oh my God, I have fangirls. It's amazing they exist, but I have fangirls. But it's been a ride. I don't know what to say. Thanks for still watching. If you're one of those mega fans who's been there since like 2008, 2009, bravo. I don't know why you've stuck with me this long, but bravo. I can't believe you're still watching me. I hope that the upcoming Sonic playthroughs and Mega Man 11, because that's going to be coming out soon, I hope you all enjoy that stuff, because I hope I enjoy all that stuff. It's weird. I've been collaborating with people I never thought I would collaborate with. I've been getting fame, Z-list YouTuber fame, but still the kind of attention that I never thought I would get in a million years. You know, sometimes I'll go into my YouTube inbox and there will be people who say that, like, I genuinely helped them with their boredom. I helped them with their depression. That, like, watching my videos cheered them up and made them feel better about themselves. And that's... I don't even have the words for that kind of impact. I don't even have the words that I could do something like that. Just me saying silly shit over a Sonic the Hedgehog video game could leave such an impact on people's lives. It's crazy, man. I always feel the weight of responsibility the more famous I get and the older I get. I am now 30 years old. I am certainly getting up there in terms of oldness, and whenever people send me fan art, like I'll be doing Mega Man Legends, and then, hey Clement, I drew you as one of the Bond family. Hope you like it. I'm amazed. I'm so thankful. When I do Crash Twinsanity and someone wants to make art of one of my jokes that I made during the playthrough, I'm amazed. I'm humbled. I just don't know how I got this follower count. I don't know how these 10 years have functioned as they have, and this is getting sappy and emotional, and I know. I'm not trying to be sappy or emotional. So, how about the future of this channel? What does the future hold? I would like to finish my Clement Remembers Final Fantasy retrospective. I want to get all the way to 15. Possibly the 7 remake, if that ever comes out in our lifetime. I gotta finish the Sonic retrospective. I said I would, and I'm gonna finish the Sonic retrospective come hell or high water. I'm playing the Boom games, I'm playing Forces, I'm playing Mania, and all of that jazz. But as for the future beyond that, I don't know. There's lots of games I would like to do Let's Plays of. There's even some games I'd like to do replays of to have a better commentary, better microphone, better everything. But then again, I can't predict the future, and I can't 100% say that I'll be here again in 10 more years. Like, I don't know if we're going to be celebrating 20 years of the Great Clement. I don't know if when I'm 40 years old, I can come back to this camera and say, I can't believe we made it to 20. You know, there's a chance I could get burned out, I could get bored with this hobby, and then decide that I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not saying I have any desire right now, but that's a possibility in the year 2026. You never know. You never know what I'll want to do. You never know if YouTube as a platform will still be around in 10 years. I'm certainly saving all the Final Fantasy videos. I've certainly saved all the non-Sonic and Mega Man Let's Plays on my hard drive and stuff. There's certainly a lot of things I'm holding on to. You know, YouTube could be another MySpace. YouTube could be another Vine. We never really know how the future is going to go out, and we never really know how I'm going to turn out. For all I know, I could get hit by a car the minute I upload this video. I could get deadly food poisoning and die immediately after this video is uploaded. I could get bitten by a venomous cobra, and then boom, that's it for the Great Clement. He's dead. Done. I know this is morbid. I don't care. But I'm going to try and stay alive, and I'm going to try and keep making videos, and I don't know if I'll be here for another 10 years, but if I am, I hope you're here for the journey. I hope you're following me all the way. Let's have some more fun memories. I feel like I've talked your ear off enough in this video alone. I'm starting to lose my voice. I've been talking for quite a while. I can't believe I've been doing this for 10 years. I hope you enjoy whatever I do next. And I'm turning into an old man. I'm turning into an old man. Until next time, folks, I am the Great Clement. Toodles.